Why are women less feminine these days?
Oh boy.
Why don't you tell us, Erica?
Oh my god.
Why are you more on the masculine side, whereas somebody like Jade would be more to the feminine side? Why would that be? Because I know we've had many discussions about this.
Why am I more
And before you answer, I want to just say one thing.
Go for it.
Masculine energy is purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, overcoming challenges. Feminine energy is about opening up to receive love, connection, bonding, family, relationships, dating, relationships, labels, nesting, having kids, being together, being close, being joyful, chaotic. Good chaos, though, hopefully.
I don't know. I feel like I am yin and yang at the same time. I have both, but I am definitely more masculine just because of certain things that have happened to me, like through childhood and certain traumas in my adulthood. And obviously, I do have walls, but I wake up every day with a smile on my face and like a little jumping bean. So I'm a happy
A
person.
Jewish jumping
The
bean.
Yeah, I'm the Jewish jumping bean. I'm like the little rabbis.
Yeah, you have drive. You know, I could tell you could be like a career girl, or maybe even a boss girl that had her own business because I assume your family's your dad obviously we know is successful, and so that DNA of being successful and paying your bills and mostly having your act together is in your family. Not that you necessarily always exhibit that as the black sheep of the family,
Thanks,
but
Corey.
I mean, in a good way. So you have a little bit more of that masculine drive, whereas
Yeah.
Jade tends to be more girly and goofy and silly,
No, I've
and you're a
always
little more businesslike.
yeah, no, I've always been more on the masculine side because I feel like I was raised more by like my dad. So that like rubbed off on me. It's more because of like my childhood.
I think the thing is that a lot of guys, especially, they get intimidated by some women who have some kind of masculine energy. But they don't
They
keep
don't
in
want to
mind.
compete.
Well,
We did a video
yes,
about
but
that.
at the same time, it's like Erica's telling us briefly our story as to why she has that masculine energy. So it's one of those don't judge a book by its cover kind of things.
I'm not
You
judging
literally,
it as bad or good.
no,
I'm
no, I'm
just
not
it's
saying
just
you. I'm
what
just saying,
is.
and like, I'm just saying because I don't know if anyone has told you or anyone in the comments have told you have a bit of a masculine kind of energy and it kind of peeves them off. I don't know. I'm not
Somebody said
saying
that
you,
about
Corey,
me.
but there's
It's like, what?
there's people that say stuff and it's like it's one, and just in general people, like you walk in the streets and people just judge you without even getting to know you. So it's like one of those things where it's like you can't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
You really can't.
Yeah, so in all relationships, heterosexual, gay, lesbian, the more polarized the relationship is, the more there's a strong masculine essence and there's a strong feminine essence, the stronger the sexual desire, the sexual tension, the sex lives are better. But the more, and this is heterosexual, gay, lesbian relationships, the more both parties are kind of similar in energy. Like if it's two lesbians and they're both masculine or they both act too masculine, they feel like they're roommates and there's not very much interest in sex. And in those, really, there's always polarity though. It always started out polarized where you had the one woman was very masculine and then the feminine one was the opposite. They're both women, but you had a masculine and a feminine woman. It's the same thing in gay relationships as well. And so, what I work with a lot with clients is the getting the polarity balance. One of the first questions when I'm talking to somebody like that, it could be a trans person because I have trans people that I coach sometimes. It's like, what is your dominant essence? What do you feel more? Do you identify more as masculine or more feminine? And based on that, I get them to accentuate the behaviors that are natural to what is their dominant essence. And then the ones that they're exhibiting that are the opposite of their dominant, it's like the feminine woman, getting her to act less masculine, a little bit more submissive, being a little less combative, or because like we were talking about the video that I saw, it was such a great line. I love it. It said, "A woman's job is to make her man's dick hard, not his life hard."
Yeah.
And too many women make his life hard, and a woman that's too masculine. If we look at like Giselle and Tom Brady, she's kind of masculine. She's a high achieving, and it takes masculine energy to compete in a man's world and run a business. And
Yeah, it
she's
does.
even more wealthy than Tom is, from what I've read. I think she's worth like something like 400 or 450 million. He's worth like two. He's about half that. But she's very beautiful. The nickname in the industry was, she was always referred to as the body, because she was so perfect. So she's this beautiful woman, but she's also, you can tell she's masculine. She's a high achieving, and you have that energy. So it's a compliment that you have the masculinity, but obviously if you like masculine dudes, they're not going to want to compete. And I'm sure there was, that was also going on in Tom and Giselle's relationship, that Tom's the champion and Giselle is the one that gave up what she was doing to be a stay-at-home mom for the most part and support Tom. Terrific. And in the middle of the season, she bailed out on him. Could have waited till the end. I understand her reasoning, but still, it was pretty harsh.
Yeah, but everyone's personalities are different. If you don't want a woman that has that masculine trait, then there's other women you like.
Everybody is the same. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Everyone has their different personalities.
Even if
that
people
person
are masculine or
no,
whatnot.
that's what I'm saying.
It's a turnoff though, because I've experienced this with women I've dated that have a masculine side to them because they're high achieving, successful women, and being with them when they're acting masculine, it's a turnoff. I'm like not as attracted, but as soon as they put a dress on and they start acting kind of all girly and a little airheaded and a little ditzy and a little free flowing and very feminine, I get very, very turned on. It's this sexual polarity that has to be there in all healthy relationships. And like I said, when I work with couples that are having that problem, it's like, usually it's the masculine lesbian that I'm talking to, or the masculine guy that's in a gay relationship, or it's the heterosexual man or woman that I'm talking to. I get them to behave with what their dominant essence is, and it's like the next day they're with their girlfriend or their wife or their husband or whatever, and they're having sex again when they haven't had sex in 6 months, because the polarity's right. When the polarity's there, it draws you to one another like a magnet. And when you're too similar, it's like a roommate. You're just somebody like, somebody that you're tired of hooking up with. They just don't turn you on.
No, and you definitely have a point, and that's totally fine, but again, at the end of the day, you shouldn't have to go with someone you don't feel like that kind of, like, I guess, polarity or whatever with, It's like I was telling Erica, is you can't judge a book by its cover. Just because a woman is, like, very masculine doesn't mean she's just masculine out of magic. But, everyone has their things. Me, as a woman, I like to be feminine, like, I love it. I love it, but there's actually, I feel like there's people out there that maybe that's not their thing, but I think it really depends on the person.
Highly polarized relationship, there's going to be no sexual or minimal sexual attraction. So that's the important thing. It has to be there. In an absence, then you're roommates.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I still think that there's a possibility for a masculine type of energy woman to have feminine energy as well.
Well, everybody has both. It's not that
saying,
women have it and men don't. Men have feminine energy too. But it's what's dominant.
Okay. Like, it's great if her dominant energy is masculine, but that makes it even more special when her feminine comes out. If she's with a masculine
guy, he's not going to want to be with a woman that's
when
always
her
in her
feminine comes out, it makes it even more special. Like when she gets dressed up and she's
Yeah, career girls, boss
FMPs.
girls, when they come home from
FMPs.
work, they got to be able to take off that masculine armor and be the sexy housewife that's going to bake cookies and play with the kids or whatever, or decorate the Christmas tree. If she comes home and wants to, be masculine and give out orders and take the man's role and plan everything out, it's like the dude is going to get turned off and he's going to go bang his secretary.
So you're basically saying there should be some kind of balance.
There has to be the balance.
Anything.
Yeah.
There's like he's got to stay in his masculine and she's got to stay in. When it comes to the relationship, she's got to be like Giselle. When she comes home, she's got to be able to submit and be feminine to Tom because otherwise his dick's not going to get hard.
But don't you think that there's, even if women who have a masculine like persona, there's some equilibrium that will happen when she's with the right person. That's when her true like
If he's
feminine
strong
will
and
come
he's
out.
got his shit together and he's masculine, she'll feel safe enough.
Exactly,
to
and her
submit.
true and she
absolutely.
won't be masculine
Yeah.
anymore. She'll
Yeah.
only be masculine when she leaves him, because then that's like her.
Yeah, but not all women are able to do that.
What do
Even
you
when the
mean?
guy shows up, it becomes constantly butting heads because she's always trying to be the leader.
I don't.
Then eventually the guy gives up and he's like,
I think there's other girls.
No, it is possible. Like, for me, that happens. When I'm with a significant other that I'm happy with, I will show my feminine side. It
Yeah.
is possible.
yeah, if the girl can't be in her feminine completely, she's not going to get a very masculine guy. He won't stick around because he's not going to compete.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll end up with a more effeminate dude that's a little soft that she can kind of push around. But she won't get the alpha type because he ain't gonna want to put up with it. He's not gonna want to compete.
That
with her.
doesn't work out because I mean I like very masculine men.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean I've dated guys that are
Soft.
saw them.
Soft.
I've dated.
They're a little squishy.
Yeah, and then
Their
it's like
spines
they
are a little
listen
rubbery.
to everything that you say, and it's a big turnoff, and it's just like, ugh. I'm just like walking all over you. You're doing everything. You're pretty much just like my slave.
You're my slave.
I mean, not that it's not nice, but it's
You lose respect for him.
yeah.
He's
And
not
then
being a man. He's not putting you in your place.
eventually you're like, I'm done with you. That's and it's bad for them because then they're like, oh, I love this woman, but grow some balls.